it's Tina and I am back, and I am here with another makeup tutorial. This is more of a talk through tutorial where I try to give tips and tricks. I've tried to do a little bit more in-depth makeup tutorials lately. I've incorporated more beginner type looks. I've done a couple with just 2 or 3 eyeshadows so that beginners can get a little bit more comfortable with eyeshadows and applying more than just one shade, right? This time around I decided to go full on with a palette and do a smoky colorful eye, which I feel like is a little bit more wearable of a colorful eye. Even though it's colorful, it's deep, it's dark, it's sultry, so it's not too in your face. And I'm using a single palette. Alright, I will confess, I did pop a little bit of an extra inner tear duct highlight, but I'm using shades from a single palette. This is one of the NYX Cosmetics In Your Element palettes. They debuted, I think, 6 of them. Earth, wind, fire, all of that. But this one is water and it has all blues in it. Like, if you know me, then you know I'm a blue type of person. So of course this is one of the best palettes to me from the entire lineup. So if you want to see how I created this smoky blue look, then stay tuned and I'll talk to you soon. Alright guys, so as usual, I'm starting off with a clean, freshly washed face, and my brows are already filled in and I got my concealer situation all set up, so that's good to go. And then my next step is to go in with a little bit of moisturizer. So I'm using this La Mer, the Perfecting Treatment that I haven't really been using, and it's very expensive, and my makeup addiction and kind of a makeup clean out, collection clean out. I like the title of videos. I did one so far with my foundations. Do you guys like the title too? I feel like it says exactly what I'm doing. I'm cleaning out my collection because it's a hot mess. It's not really a declutter. It's like a detox for me. So it's more of a clean out. But anyway, I'm like, why am I like, look at my La Mer products sitting over there just making fun of me like, ha, you ain't used us yet and we're really expensive. So gonna start using some of that. This is actually a pretty nice treatment. It feels good on the skin. Do I think it's worth the price? Absolutely not, but since I bought it, I'm gonna use it up. Anyway, we're gonna go in with some primer. This is my Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. I'm using the shade Light. And I've been really enjoying these skin tone shades from Smashbox. I think they did a really good job. I love their eyeshadow primers, and I think the matte skin tone shades that they did were really good as well. So I'm just going to blend that out using my Real Techniques Deluxe crease brush. And then, you know, you can go in with your fingers and smush it around a little bit more so it's more warmed up against your skin. And once we have that down, I'm just going to go in with a little bit of loose powder. This is my La Prairie Cellular Treatment Loose Powder. Any loose powder that you have will do. This is far too expensive to use for this, but I love this powder and I have like a whole big old jar of it, so why not use it up? I'm using a beauty sponge, a dampened one, just to press that in over my lids. I find this really works well with these translucent powders. It helps to set the eyelids and it doesn't leave it looking dry and like cakey at all. Now that we have that all down, we're gonna grab our palette of the day. This is from NYX Cosmetics. It's one of their In Your Element palettes. It's a new collection that came out. I believe there are 6 of these. They're based on all the elements like earth, wind, fire, all that situation. This one is water, and of course this would be one of my favorites. There are a couple of them that I really like, and I'll do a full video on them doing swatches. I got all of them. You guys probably know that I love blues and I love my colors, so I figured this one was a great one to start out with. These shades do not have names, so we're just going to point to which ones we're using. I'm going to use the matte teal right here at the very end, and I'm gonna grab it on the end of my Eddie Funkhouser blending brush, and I'm gonna do circular buffing motions on this outer crease area. Now I know I have been doing beginner videos, and I know some people are like, oh, you know, we feel like we can really replicate your looks now with 2 eyeshadows. Here's the thing, do not be intimidated by multiple colors. It just takes some blending, and for this look, all the colors are in one palette, so it shouldn't be an issue because you don't have to pull from various different palettes or pull out singles. It's all in one palette. So what I'm doing is doing circular motions to deposit the color and then I'll slowly pull it upwards onto the brow bone area. And that transition color or that base color that we placed down, the loose powder, will help with our blending. So we're not picking up any more color. These colors are actually pretty pigmented. So I'm just buffing the color in and creating that outer color on the lid. And I'll show you a little bit step by step. I pick the color up on the brush. I place it on my lid where I want it, and then I'll just go around in circular buffing motions. And I'm just lightly moving the brush. I'm not pressing it too deeply on my skin, so I'm not leaving an impression with the color, and this will help to blend it out. I'm just doing this. Circular blending motions. And you see you get the color down and it creates kind of a hazy effect already. Then you'll go back in, pick up some more color, and build up slowly. So you're not packing on the color all at once. You're just slowly building it up. And the slower you go, the better it will be. So if you're intimidated and you're like, you know what, my blending skills aren't where they need to be, pick up a little color at a time. You may need to go back 3 or 4 times until you get comfortable with how much color you want to put down and your blending skills. So pick up a little at a time. Circular motions, buff, build. Just very slowly. Don't go too fast until you get very comfortable with colors and you know just how much you can handle at a time. And I have this washcloth in my lap, and what I do is I go back and forth on it with my brush until I remove all the color. And that's something that I suggest everybody does, is have a washcloth handy. Clean off the color off your brush and then go around the edges, just using back and forth windshield wiper motions. You can also use your circular motions on the edges of the color, and that's going to help to blend it out and fade it out. And I'm starting with the matte shades because when you build and blend mattes, it's a little bit easier to add shimmer later. But your mattes, when you add shimmer first and then add mattes, it can get a little mucky and you won't see the distinction between the matte and the shimmer. So build with your mattes first. Now look, I started out with a large fluffy blending brush. Now I'm going in with a tight denser brush. This is the 1/16 large crease brush from Sonia Kashuk against the Eddie Funkhouser brush. So you see the difference in size? Picking up the same color from the palette, and this time I'm going to use this brush to build up the color. So we already have the blend and now we're just packing on color. So I'm using this brush and I'm just using light patting motions to deposit the color. Now I don't need to blend it out as much. I just want to build up the intensity of that shade. And again, just wipe off the brush and then you can lightly go around the edge to make sure that it fades and it's not leaving behind a harsh line. Now once we have that down, I'm going into the other deep shade in the palette. This is like a deep teal with a brown base. And this is now our shimmer shade. And I'm using a Rite Aid eyeshadow brush. This is a flatter shaped brush. It's not a blending brush. And I'm using patting motions and zigzag motions to apply that on the closer to the center of the lid. Not going all the way in on the center, but I'm building up that color close to the outer lid and outer V. And you just want to build up the color on this outer V area and make sure you have a nice color payoff. And you can use, like I said, buffing motions, circular motions to really deposit and build up that color. And this is a very similar color to the outer V. So you just want to make sure you cover any patchiness, but you still have that matte outer V showing through. I really like this color because it reminds me of a beetle. Do you know those really beautiful iridescent beetle shells? This is what that reminds me of. It doesn't have too much of a brown or burgundy base as some of these colors do. The green in it really picks up and shows through, so I really like this color. Now once we have that down, I'm going to go in with a clean blending brush. This is the A25 from Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's a very small blending brush, and I'm using this to fade the color out in the crease again and mix the outer V color with that lid shade that we placed down. And I'm using very light strokes because I don't want to bring this color too far up. I just want to make sure that the colors blend together. And I always go back in, clean off the brush, and come back again, just because you want to make sure that the brush doesn't pull color upwards where you don't need it. You want to make sure you kind of go in with a clean brush. So cleaning it off in that washcloth or towel will really help you out with not making the look overly muddy or just color gets everywhere and then you're like, what the hell, right? So clean off the brush. Next up, I'm going in with this green shade here. It's like a seafoam green, but I'm gonna dampen my Rite Aid brush just a little bit with a little splash of Smashbox primer water. And I'll just pick up the product on the brush, so we have it on the very tip. And we're going to just lightly apply that color to the edge of the previous color we placed down. So this is where you're mixing colors together. Please don't get intimidated. Just build colors up. It's just as easy as using two colors. You just add in as you go. So you're just making a little bit more room on the lid, nothing too crazy. I wiped off the brush and I'm going around the edge to blend in that beetle shade and this lighter green shade. And then I'll go back in with that beetle green shade just on the edge to make sure that we blend that together and the green, the darker green is still showing through. I don't want that light green to cover it up. Now I don't want this look to get too dark, so I'm going to grab this light blue. It's like a sky blue on the same brush. And I'm going to apply it now on the inner lid. So again, that pressing, patting, zigzag motion to apply that color. It doesn't apply too intensely, so I'm going to grab a little bit more of the primer water on the brush. Pick up that color and press it on the inner lid. That's going to intensify the shimmer and intensify the color payoff. And you can use just back and forth motions. You're building it up and then you can worry about blending it out in a bit. But first you want to get the color deposited. I'm happy with the color placement, so I'll go in again with the blending brush. This is the Anastasia blending brush. And I'm just going to go around the edge of that blue and in the crease area. And this is just going around circular motions, buffing motions, windshield wiper motions to really just blend out the edge of the color so we're not leaving behind a harsh line. And you learn pretty quickly to blend colors. You just go back and forth. And practice makes perfect, so don't be afraid to just try different techniques and figure out what works best for you. Now we're going back into the palette and I'm going to grab the icy light blue at the very top and we're going to pop that on the inner tear duct area. This color also needs some help with some intensity, so dampen the brush again and pop it right on that inner tear duct, and it's going to really add brightness to that look. I don't want to be too smoky with the look, so I definitely want to lighten up that inner lid and inner crease. So I'm pulling some of that light icy blue into the previous blue that we placed down because that wasn't quite as bright as I wanted it to be. Now I'll go back in with my Eddie Funkhouser brush and I'm just going to go around. Sometimes you just want to pull out the larger blending brush just to do a quick, easy blend of everything. Now that I have the look done, I'm going to go back into the dark teal shade that we started out with on that Eddie Funkhouser brush, and we're going to build up the color again. This is going to make sure that that matte pops out. Remember when we were adding the shimmer, some of that color got on the matte? So we're adding the matte back just to finish up the look and make sure we have that intensity on that outer V. I cleaned off the brush again and we'll just go around the edge of the color. And we can also go back in with that deep beetle green shade again, Sonia Kashuk brush, and just build up some of the depth because we lost a lot of that with the shiny color on the lid. Again, you just want to look at the eyeshadow look from a distance. See what may be missing, see what needs to be touched up, and just touch it up. I really feel like I want something brighter on that inner tear duct. This is just not doing it for me. So I'm going to grab this shade from ColourPop. It's Now in Zen. It's one of their newer shades and it's a bright yellow white gold. And I'm going to pop that on the inner tear duct with my Sonia Kashuk brush again. There we go. You see how bright that is? That's what I needed. And I'll clean off the brush and make sure we go in and blend that color in with that inner lid color so that everything is cohesive. For the brow highlight, I'm doing a little bit of a throwback. I'm grabbing my Bare Essentials All Over Face Color in the shade Clear Radiance and just popping that right beneath my brow using my MAC 242 brush. This is such a beautiful color. I've just loved this forever. It gives a really beautiful shimmer to the brow bone area, but it's not too frosty or shiny. It just gives a beautiful iridescence. Now let's go ahead and work on the face a little bit. So I'm gonna grab my Milk Makeup Blur Stick. I felt like I missed the opportunity to use this on camera with the Milk foundation, so I'm gonna do it in this video. So I'm applying this all over my skin where I need some blurring. So we're gonna apply that. It's like a silicone mattifying primer, and it's a little bit more of a powdery finish because it is in that stick form. So it's not too slippy or slick on the skin, and I'll just rub that in with my fingers. And of course, I'll grab the Milk Makeup Blurring Foundation, and the shade I use is Tan, and I'm just gonna apply that using my Artis Oval 8 brush. I love this brush for foundation. I think it applies foundation really well. This foundation, I have a full video coming up where I do a demonstration and a full review on it. And I also do a wear test. So I'm not going to go too much into what I think about this foundation. So I'm just going to buff that all over my skin. I really wanted to show the Milk Makeup Blur Foundation in conjunction with their Blur Primer, so you can see how it applies. I did try it off camera on its own, but I never tried it in the video, and I feel like people are going to be like, well, you should have tried it with its own primer. And I did, but I wanted to show the demo here so you can see it. It applies pretty nicely, but the finish of the foundation, it's still not a fully matte foundation to me. It looks very skin-like, almost satin-like. It looks a little bit more hydrating on my skin than a matte foundation usually does. And even with the Blur Primer, I still don't feel like this foundation gives you a completely flawless airbrushed finish. But like I said, we'll talk about all of that in the actual review video. Now let's go ahead and apply some mascara. This is my Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara as usual. Just gonna pop that on the upper lashes. I still feel like I want to brighten that inner tear duct some more, so I'm grabbing a pencil brush and a little bit of the primer water again. And I'm using it to really intensify that inner tear duct because I just want it to be very bright and vivid. For the lashes, I'm going to use a pair of my Eylure 117s. These are just beautiful, simple looking lashes with a little bit of volume to them. Alright, now that we have that down, let's go ahead and work on the lower lash line. I'm gonna grab this bright blue from the palette, which is the one you guys are like, why didn't you use that yet? Yeah, I'm gonna use it. I'm grabbing it on a MAC 242 small shader brush, and I'm going right on my lower lash line with this. And this color actually deepens as you apply it to your skin, so it's not as bright and as vivid as you would expect. You see, it gives more of a smoky look, and that is not exactly a bad thing. If you were afraid of that blue and you thought it was just too intense, it's actually really not. It's a deeper blue once you apply it to your skin. And I'm just blending out the edge of the color with a clean blending brush. Now, if you really want that blue to stand out as vivid as it looks in the palette, you see the difference? You'd probably have to apply it over a white base and really pack it on, but right now it just looks like a smoky navy blue. My waterline liner is just gonna be my Perversion 24/7 liner pencil from Urban Decay, which is just a matte black. And my lower lash mascara is, as usual, my MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara, just to make sure those lower lashes stand out. I actually wanted to show you guys something. Do you see how the foundation is settling in my frown lines? And I haven't even been moving my face that much, and I haven't had the foundation on very long. Even though I use their primer, it just doesn't look really beautiful on my skin. But we're gonna press on. We're gonna go ahead and set the foundation in place. I'm using my Marc Jacobs Perfection powder. The shade I use is 500 Fawn Cocoa, and I'm just gonna apply that all over my skin just to set the foundation in place. I'm going to use a little bit of bronzer. This is my Urban Decay Beach Bronzer in the shade Bronzed, and I'm just gonna pop a little bit of that on my hairline and temple area to give us some dimension. And I'm also going to use a little bit of that to shape my cheekbones, but nothing too crazy. I'm just going around doing like a small C shape, maybe a little bit of an E. I'm not really sculpting or anything. I'm just adding a little bit of color back to my face. And for the blush, I'm using this one from NARS. This is Liberty or Liberté, however you want to pronounce it. I don't speak the French, and it has an accent on the E, so I don't know how that's pronounced. Just popping that on my cheeks. It's just, it's somewhat of like a reddened coral shade. It's not really pinky or anything. It's definitely more like a rosy shade, but it has a touch of like a dirty orange to it as well. For the highlight, I kind of sort of want to use this from BECCA. It's one of their Light Chaser highlighters. It's the shade Opal Flashes Jade. So it has a little bit of blue to it. And I think it ties in well with the eyes. So I'm going to pop it on my cheeks. It's a little blue. It's a little bit blue, let's be honest. Or it's a lot. But I'm just using it very lightly, and then I'm going to buff it out so it doesn't look too intense on the cheek area. Looking at the eyes, I feel like I want to go really nude with this, or somewhat nude, like a peachy nude. So I'm using Understudy from Marc Jacobs. This is a peachy, like a peachy burnt nude shade. And I'm just going to apply this lightly to the lips. I'm not trying to get any perfect outline. I'm just giving a wash of color to my lips. And I'll even go in with my fingertip and rub that into my lips so it looks almost like just a kiss of color, but nothing too intense. And then I'm going in with this lip gloss from Maybelline. It's a Vivid Hot Lacquer, and the shade is Unreal, which is just a nudie shade. And I'm just going to apply this very lightly to my lips. Again, not looking for intensity, just giving a little bit of sheen and shine to the lips. Alright guys, so here you have it. This is the completed look. I really love how the look turned out, guys. I really love these eyeshadows. I thought they were really easy to work with, and I think that even if you're a beginner, you shouldn't be intimidated by using 4 or 5 shades on the eyes. You can still just blend everything together and get a really beautiful look that's gonna give you dimension. Even though it doesn't look like I applied 5 different shades on my eye. Did I use 5? I might have used 5, but even so, it doesn't look like I tried too hard. It's still, everything just blends together. So hopefully my tips and tricks helped you out. You know, if you want to dive into the deep end, like you're ready to take the leap and try out more complicated looks, more complex looks, even though I think they're still pretty simple to create, then hopefully this video helped you out. As usual, I'm going to leave a full list of the products used and mentioned in the description box, along with links on where you can pick them up. Those links happen to be affiliate links, which means I generated those codes through Ulta or Sephora, so you can easily pick them up directly from my description box. And that means that I will get a small sales commission if you make a purchase through those links. If you're not comfortable with that, I completely understand. Go ahead and shop the way you normally shop, either in store or online. But I'm not directly affiliated with any of the brands or any of the companies that I post. It's just a simple affiliate link that I can generate generically off the websites. I will also leave links to my Instagram and Twitter page, where you should definitely be following me along. And leave any requests down below for makeup looks that you want to see, because at the end of the day, I still want this to be a fun channel for you guys to come back and check out videos, and I want to create content that you guys want to see. So reviews, swatches, all those things are in line. So if there's a specific look that you want to see created, or you want to see me put a specific palette to use that I've hauled in a recent video, then let me know in the comments as well. Do remember that I am on a no-buy for the rest of 2017. I know in my last haul video I said 2016, and literally I had no idea that I was wrong. I edited the video. I replayed it. Like, I edit, I replay, I play the full video again to make sure that there are no mistakes, and I still did not even realize that I was a year behind. Kill me dead? It was 2016 because I missed my president and they wanted for the 2016 again, but it was 2017. And apparently I was really confused. But anyway, maybe you know what? It was the no buy that had me feeling some type of way, and so I was reverting to the past. But anyway, that is not here or there. I am not purchasing any new products for 2017, so please don't try to tempt me, because it's not gonna happen. So I will go ahead now and leave, because I've chatted enough, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!